The Roth IRA provides an easy way to contribute post-tax dollars into a retirement account that will allow you to become a tax-free millionaire by the time that you retire. In this video, I'll go over how to create and build your very own Roth IRA using M1 Finance. First, let's go over what a Roth IRA is. A Roth IRA is a post-tax retirement account. This means that all the money that goes in is already taxed. When you reach retirement age, it comes out completely tax-free. Unfortunately, there are some limitations on what you can put into these accounts. As of 2021, there is currently a yearly cap on contributions of $6,000 a year if you're under 50, and $7,000 a year if you are over 50. You also have to have an annual income of less than $139,000 per year. There's also some really great benefits with a Roth IRA besides just the tax-free part once you retire. You're allowed to withdraw any contributions that you make without a penalty whenever you need to, just not any of the gains. So if you deposit $6,000 and you have $1,000 of gains, you can withdraw $6,000 with no penalty. You're just not able to put it back in afterwards. You can also take up to $10,000 to buy your first home. This includes gains. You can start withdrawing from the account when you are 59 and a half years old. Now, I personally wouldn't recommend taking either of the options I mentioned a second ago for early withdrawals because of the limit on contributions you can make each year. Every dollar you put in is really important to growing over your entire lifetime. From here, you can see that just putting in $500 a month from age 20 to age 60 when you can start withdrawing, with an average annual return of 7%, which is what the S&P has done historically, you'll have an estimated $1.2 million by the time that you retire. And all of this money you can take out completely tax-free as soon as you're 59 and a half. So this really shows how important it is to start early, so you have enough time for this to compound, and how great it is to have all this money that you can just have sitting there that once you're old enough you can take out and do whatever you want with and not pay any taxes on it. So now let's go into actually creating the Roth IRA. It's pretty simple with M1 Finance. Assuming you already have an account set up, you'll need to do that on your own here because I can't make my own account again, but you just go through and you fill out all of the know your customer stuff and all that. And you'll have an individual account that gets created. This is not a retirement account. This is a taxable regular account. It's like what I have with my Robinhood account. It's the same kind of account. So everything that happens in here, it's all taxable, and I can put as much money as I want in here and all that kind of stuff. But what you want to do is you want to have a Roth IRA added. So you just go down here to add account, and you can see that you can add retirement, joint accounts, and more. So you go here, wait for it to load. And then you can open up any of these other kinds of accounts. If you want to open another individual investing account, you can do that here, joint account or retirement accounts. So you can click here on retirement accounts, and then you get even more options. So you can open up traditional IRAs. These are sort of like 401ks, but not tied to a job. So you can contribute pre-tax dollars. So this is money that right now you don't pay the taxes on, but when you start taking withdrawals, when you retire, then you pay the taxes on it. You can open a Roth IRA, a SEP IRA, or you can roll over your 401ks. So you would just click here on Roth IRA, continue, and then fill out the rest of the information that it has afterwards. Reviewing this all looks okay, hitting confirm, and continuing to move on, filling out the bank account information and everything else that comes out afterwards. Overall, it's pretty easy to set up, and then all you need to do is set up some transfer rules. So you can come here, you'll have your bank that you have linked up to your account set up here, and you can set up these rules. I currently have it set up to transfer 2 times a month on the 7th and on the 21st of each month. It would contribute $250 on each of those, so $500 a month. So this will get me to the cap of $6,000 a year, and I don't have to focus on this at all. I forget that this happens. It just automatically comes out of my bank account and automatically gets invested. And with this, I really don't have to think really at all about what I'm doing for my retirement. I have just set up what I want it to be invested in. I set up the money automatically going in, and it automatically is invested for me. So I can just completely forget about this account, come back in 40 years, and I should have a nice sum of money there waiting for me. Now that the boring account setup part is done, now we can talk about what you can put into your Roth IRA. IRAs are, in general, pretty flexible with what you can invest in them. Depending on your brokerage, you could invest in commodities, real estate, mutual funds, index funds, or even individual stocks. M1 Finance is pretty great since they let you invest in any individual stock and ETFs. For instance, my portfolio only has one holding. It is the Vanguard S&P 500 index. If I wanted to go and invest my retirement money into Tesla or Google, I could do that too, with absolutely no issue. I'd do it the same way I would do it with an index fund. Personally, I'm not going to be doing that because I want my retirement account to be less risky than my taxable account is, because this is my backup plan if my individual account doesn't work out. I also don't have any bonds in this account because I have such a long time before I retire that I really just don't see the point in having them, especially with yields as low as they are. I just think the S&P 500 will do better than bonds will over the next 40 years until I can actually use this money. But now that we're just setting up the accounts and you've just built this and you have a blank portfolio, all you would need to do, you just go into this research tab. And then first you have all the news that they provide you with, all the stuff that happened. And then you can go here into stocks. And this is all the companies that exist on the stock market, sorted by their market cap. So right now we have Apple, which is the largest company in the world, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, so on. And you can search for anything that you wanted here. You can search by how big their market cap is, what their PE ratio is, if they pay a dividend or not, and then all of the different subsectors and main sectors that they have here. You can go into all of them. You can go here into funds, and you can get all of the large index funds and all kinds of different stuff that they have here. This is what I have my money invested in with the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. VTI, which is every single stock all in one ETF, is also a really good option. And here's bonds and the NASDAQ, and this is the total international stock market. And there's just something for every different type of sector and index that you could possibly ever want to track. They're all in here. One of the other really cool things that M1 Finance has is these expert pies. These are pies that are built by the M1 Finance team that you can just put into your portfolio, and they will make changes as time goes on for you as things come in and out of favor. So they have these retirement pies here where you can just go and you just pick the year that you think you're going to want to retire. So say I think I'm going to retire in 2050. I can pick how aggressive or conservative I want to be. Now I want to say I'm going to be aggressive and I want to retire in 2050. And this will have a portfolio of, this one has 15 different ETFs, all weighted based on your risk tolerance. And as time goes on, the M1 Finance team will adjust the weightings between having equities and bonds to start you off being really aggressive the further away you are from retirement, and becoming more and more conservative over time as you get closer and closer to that retirement date. Because if we go and we look here at the 2020 moderate one, we can see that it has a lot more bonds than it does developing markets like the other one had. But if you wanted to add one of these to your portfolio, it's pretty simple. You would just go here, click into whichever one you think you wanted. After you look over all the holdings and think if the weightings are something that you'd want to do. And if you wanted to use one of these retirement pies that they have set up for you, you would just click add to portfolio. And then you would get this pie. This represents your portfolio. And you would just set whatever you want the weighting to be. So if I wanted 10% of my portfolio in this and 90% in the S&P 500, I could do that. Hit save. And then here on my portfolio, you'll see that we have this added. And as I put more money in, it will start going into here and filling up until it's at the correct weighting for this to be 10% of my portfolio and this to only be 90%. But I don't want to do that, so you can just come here, click edit, and then click this and remove, and then bring this back up to 100. And there you go. If you want to add individual companies, pretty much the same thing. Say I want to add Apple, just add a portfolio, set to whatever your weighting is. What I'm sure you've seen some other people, if you've ever seen anyone use M1 Finance before, is that they'll have sub pies. They'll have more pies inside of here that they have stuff added to. And that's pretty simple to do too. You just come here to my pies, and you can just see, I have a couple of them. So if you wanted dividend ETFs, you could use this pie that has VYM, SCHD, and VNQ. So this is 2 dividend ETFs and a real estate REIT ETF. And so if I wanted to add this to my portfolio, do the same thing that I was doing before, make this, I don't know, 3% of my portfolio, hit save. And then we have a subpie inside of my larger portfolio. And then you can click into here, and then you'll see these in here. So you can do this for all of the sectors in the industries. So you can make one for financials and healthcare and all that stuff, and then you can keep it really organized. But I just want to keep mine simple, so again, we'll just take this and remove it, set this up to 100 and save. So yeah, you can do pretty much the same investing you would do in a regular taxable account. You can do it in a Roth IRA, especially with M1 Finance. You can put pretty much any stock or ETF that you could possibly want in here. Investing early in a Roth IRA is really important because it gives you a lot of time to compound the money that you have in there. From this article from US News, we can see that the median account size for people from all different ages is a lot lower than it really should be. The median account size for people under 25 is only $3,700, which is less than the maximum you can contribute. Under 30, it's $5,000. So they've had 12 possible years to contribute, and they still have less than the amount that they can contribute in 1 year. Under 40, it's $12,000. Under 50, $24,000. Under 60, $41,000. And under 70, $75,000. Even just putting in $100 a month puts you way ahead where the average person is, and give you a lot of tax-free money that you can have by the time that you retire. So it's really important to get started as soon as possible. Just keep on working, max out your contributions if you can, and wait for your money to grow and make you a tax-free millionaire by the time that you're 59 and a half. I'll see you all next week. Bye.